Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled, Can the Impact of a Friend's Daughter's Death Last for More Than 2 Minutes? So, Beit Shemesh last few weeks were rocked with double tragedy. A young man from Ramat Beit Shemesh passed away, just finished high school, and then a young woman in Beit Shemesh passed away, and tragedies both sides of Beit Shemesh. I didn't really know the young man who passed away locally, Ramat Beit Shemesh, but right before Shabbat, when I heard the news from Beit Shemesh, from Shpachat Hammer, Gila Hammer, so it turned out many years ago he's very, very close with Shalom Hammer. He should live and be well. And he lived from Monsey. I used to actually stay by him in Monsey when I was going out with Malki, who also lived in Monsey, and we had a beautiful relationship. Life gets busy, go on, we get busy with our family, so certainly not in contact with him day to day or even year to year, but I ran over there when I heard Friday right before Shabbat. I ran over there, give him a hug and cry with him. And of course the tragedy is just unimaginable. And especially when I was there yesterday for Shiva, hearing how the last, high school years and post-high school and only graduate high school, spoke at a graduation in August, and then a few months later she's gone. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's just a disaster. And of course, we wish the Hammer family Nechama, and they should just work together to somehow get through this unbelievable Gzar Din. And I'm wondering about the following. So, when you're in the moment and you're crying with a friend, an old friend that was such a loss, at that moment, you know that everything else is so trivial. If you're having some financial issues, having some health issues, you're having some other challenges, it's dwarfed. They're all dwarfed. You have hell in front of you. Family, Shalom, Gabi, and their kids mourning the loss of their beloved daughter and sister. That's hell. Everything else is dwarfed. And if someone would say, hey, Danny Myers, I heard your rotator cuff, your shoulder got hurt, you were swimming, you're exercising, and the last 2 months you've been out of commission. So how you feel? Let's say someone asked me that outside the Shiva house. I would say, yeah, it's really painful, and yeah, it's not easy, and I can't really jog, I can't really swim now, and it's pretty hard, and I know it's going to be, and I wouldn't even be thinking, it's not that I wouldn't say it right outside the Shiva house, I wouldn't even think that way. This is a problem. I don't have full use of my rotator cuff, so I can't swim now, and I can't really jog. I wouldn't even think that way. Like, this is a joke. This is a joke. I just left the house, the Shiva house. That's serious. That's real. That's a problem. This is a joke. And someone asked me about financially, this, that. I was a principal. Now I'm not the principal. My income is not the same. And so not only will I not say it, it's a joke. We have our health. Kids are fine. And we'll figure out the finances. But here is the challenge. So when I'm outside the Shiva house, thinking about my old buddy Shalom and what he's going through, and the family, at that moment, everything else is in perspective. What happens when I drive home 2 hours later, and 2 days later, and 2 weeks later? Is there any way that even when we're removed from the site of real tragedy, that we could still somehow keep that perspective? Or are we going to end up whining again over the financial challenges, over the mess in the kitchen? I can't get a good night's sleep because of my shoulder, and I keep waking up every hour and have to turn, and then are we going to go back to that? How do we avoid that? So it's a great question. If I had a simple answer, then I think we'd all be very fortunate. I don't think I have a simple answer. I don't think there is a simple answer. But one thing that maybe we could think about is, let's say, a week or two later, when I'm not thinking, I'm not there with Shalom, like I was during the Shiva. I'm not with Gabi. I'm not with them. I'm away physically, mentally, I'm not with them, thinking 24/7. What happens the next time I get up in the middle of the night at 3 in the morning in pain? And my Yetzer Hara starts saying, yeah, it's so painful, so hard, you can't sleep, and all the complaints start coming up. What if I could try to relive that moment that I'm just hugging and crying with Shalom? And bring myself back to that moment that I'm sitting with them and then going over the last year and a half, what went on, and be back there. So when I was there at the Shiva house, naturally my emotions were there with them. And those emotions dwarf the complaints. But now I'm 2 weeks gone, 3 weeks gone, 3 months gone. So those emotions aren't there. So all you have is the feelings of like, oh, it's not fair, I can't sleep, and this, I can't pay the bills, and that. But wait a second, kid, is there a way to try to bring ourselves back to an emotional period when we had a real perspective? So I don't think it's an easy exercise. It takes work. As opposed to when you're at the Shiva house, it's natural, your emotions are there. You have to somehow conjure up the emotions. Try to relive that moment. It's not a simple exercise, but maybe that could help. And all of us have those moments where we had a reality check, where we saw clarity. We felt this is real. This is a serious issue, and everything else is a joke. I have to deal with the other things, but it's not that big. It's not such a big hurdle. I could manage. So I'm wondering if this little piece of advice can help myself and can help others. And if it does, it should just be Le'ilui Nishmata of Gabby Hammer, Zechrona Livracha. Her memory should always be for a blessing, for an inspiration, for all that new and all of Klal Yisrael. And I wish my beloved Hammer family Nechama. Shalom.